What's up, Ravens? Welcome back to this week's edition of ONW Now. I'm Ava Clayton alongside Blake Gamber, and we're here to give you the latest and greatest from Olathe Northwest this week.
Today we have a recap on the presidential election, a look at our theater department's latest production, and an inside look of our new show, Late Night.
Let's get right into it.
You know what would make 2020 even crazier? Having an election to decide the leader of the free world. Last Tuesday, November 3rd, kicked off the 2020 U.S. presidential election and what would call the most crucial and decisive event in their lifetimes. Let's take it over to Andrew Beckwith for a recap on the madness that was last week.
The 2020 U.S. election has been, to put this lightly, a catastrophic disaster. Not in terms of results, but the way it's unfolded thus far. But it's been hyped up since former Vice President Joe Biden was put in front of the Democratic primaries and impeachment was launched on President Donald Trump, and then that kind of failed.
It's a witch hunt.
Needless to say, it's been a long time in the making. We had protests, COVID super spreader rallies, political and social polarization beyond repair, and even Jesus running for president. 4 months before November 3rd. And spoiler alert, he got 50,000 votes. The next president of the United States of America is Joseph R. Biden Jr. Joe Biden beat incumbent President Donald Trump to secure his victory as the 46th President of the United States in historical fashion. How did Biden's victory come to fruition? Well, let's take a look right over here at this electoral college map. Trump and Biden both took primarily red and blue states, with Biden taking the West Coast and the Upper East Coast right over here. Trump was able to take most of the southern states and some of these Midwestern states right over here. Texas, Florida, and Ohio were looking to be states that Biden could potentially get compared to 2016. Trump took them as it went clear red, red, and red over there. But after Biden took Minnesota and Maine, the count was 224 to 214, Joe Biden over Donald Trump.
Frankly, we did win this election.
So Trump initially led the battleground states of Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, but Biden was able to keep a slight lead in Nevada. One of the more controversial calls this election was when Fox and AP called Arizona for Biden, although the count was around 80% recorded. Mail-in ballots were requested at an exponential rate due to the pandemic, and most people didn't want to go wait in lines on November 3rd. So once the mail-in ballots were cast in all four of these swing states, it was over for Trump. Shortly after, Wisconsin, Michigan, and slightly Georgia were falling over to Biden, as all he needed was Arizona and Nevada to fall in his favor. However, the Trump campaign had different plans, as they filed many lawsuits in these swing states for alleged voter fraud, but were rejected by most of the state Supreme Courts for lack of evidence. Saturday morning, Pennsylvania fell for Biden, as CNN and every news outlet called it, and shortly after, Nevada went to Biden as well, putting him at 279 or 270 threshold for presidency. And the world went crazy. City streets were filled, social media was wild in celebration. Congratulatory messages from politicians, celebrities, and even foreign leaders all came in. Joe Biden will become president after 6 terms in the Senate and 2 terms as VP, and will be the oldest president to be inaugurated January 20th in 2021 at 78, while Kamala Harris will become the first female vice president, as well as the first person of color and Asian descent to become the vice president. Speaking of Trump conceding, he hasn't quite done that yet. Many members of his campaign, allies, and even the current president have done everything possible to not concede, with many lawsuits still to be filed and with a small chance of going to the Supreme Court for those lawsuits. As everything stands, Donald Trump will be the first incumbent president to lose re-election since George W.H. Bush in 1992, one of a handful of presidents to be impeached, and also lose the popular vote in both elections, as Biden leads by the race by 4 million. Keep in mind, he did all 3. Of course, none of this will be official until January 20th when he gets inaugurated. So could stuff change? I mean, of course it could. It's 2020 for crying out loud. But through all this drama is the most important, significant, and unprecedented election in modern American history. It seems as though we have a clear result for now. Joe Biden will become the 46th President of the United States on January 20th, 2021. For ONW Now, this has been Andrew Beckwith.
This past week, Olathe Northwest theater students put on a virtual performance of their fall show, Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. Kinsey Likes and Logan Connor have the inside look.
In the midst of a global pandemic, ONW theater students were able to find a way to express their creativity while still remaining socially distanced.
I think the idea of doing virtual just kind of stemmed from the opportunities that we were given. Obviously, due to COVID, there's a lot of complications that come with doing theater. It can't really all be together on stage. So we kind of went with the next best thing. We all just got online, figured things out.
With a new virtual plan in place, the production process looked a little different than it has in previous years.
We had actors send in virtual auditions, we had virtual callbacks over Zoom, and then we basically just got to reading the play. We had Miss Bonjour, the English teacher extraordinaire, come to a couple of our Zoom meetings and give us some extra historical background and Shakespeare context, which was really helpful.
This new production process brought both positive and negative aspects into the production.
It was kind of a blessing and a curse to do it all in one chunk. It was nice to like break it down and focus on one scene at a time, but at the same time, there's a couple things where instead of doing it scene to scene and then watching how it plays out and letting that emotion build through it, it's kind of separated and chunked up. So there are a couple obstacles that do come with that.
Without an actual stage to work with, the team was forced to get creative in order to properly convey the story to the audience.
I think the backdrops that we used were a really, really cool touch. Each of us had our own Zoom background that was a part of this big jigsaw puzzle. And what we do is once everybody was in the scene, we'd kind of swap everybody around until our Zoom backgrounds made this huge picture, kind of like our set. As for props, we did sneak in things where we could, although there were a couple challenges because we were only really able to use the things that we had in our homes. So unless we had the prop we were looking for, we really couldn't use them.
Even though the play was virtual, the theater department worked hard to make sure the audience had an enjoyable viewing experience.
We use this online platform where audiences could reserve a ticket code and then enter their code into the online platform, and we just uploaded the video onto that platform, so they were able to watch it online.
I think it's definitely a lot better to perform in front of a live audience because you can kind of like play off of that. I was playing a court jester, so it's a little bit easier to play off the audience, find a laugh here, do some comedic timing. But when you don't have that audience to give you feedback, you kind of just have to think to yourself, okay, how can I make this scene good and how can I carry it forward without that?
Overall, the show was very successful and the theater program looks forward to their upcoming productions.
I'm really happy with how it turned out. There were a lot of challenges, but I think the end product was really great, and I'm so proud of all the work that the students did. We will be having a virtual one-act festival in December and January, so look out for those dates. And then our hope is to maybe live stream the musical in the spring.
We wish you all the best of luck on your upcoming productions. For Logan Connor, this has been Kinsey Likes.
Great job to the theater program. Looks like everything went well. Be on the lookout for their next virtual performance.
Now, let's toss it over to Game Day for an update on Raven Athletics from this week.
What's up, Ravens? Welcome back to Game Day. I'm Maleah Boyd alongside Maddy Samuelson. Today we have a cross-country recap, the Olathe North versus Olathe Northwest playoff game, state gymnastics, and 2 more senior spotlights.
On October 31st, Logan Read and Lydia McLaughlin concluded the cross-country season by running at state in Wichita. Let's take it to Cole Bartley for more details.
Imagine running against the wind during the most important race of the season. That's what our ONW Raven cross-country team had to face at state.
So with state, we had 25-mile-per-hour winds going into it, and so it wasn't really that much of a hilly course. It was really just facing the wind and facing the toughness of trying to challenge yourself with other competitors at state. And so for me, it was all about tucking behind somebody and letting them carry on the load of the wind when we're going against it, and then when we're going with the wind, it was all about just trying to get the edge on the people and trying to just get in front of other people.
There's a lot of preparation that you have to do to achieve your goal. Let's ask our Raven runners how they prepared and about Logan's 3rd place finish.
Preparation was all about mostly like diet, sleep, along with like going to practices and doing the workouts and like hitting all your paces. And so it's just a lot of preparation beforehand.
The summer was all about lower mileage to end up in the season, you know, to rev up the mileage a little bit more so that my legs can feel more fresh for state. It's all about doing what the coach is asking of you to do because they know what they're doing, and they know that if you just follow the regimen, you'll be in the best shape you possibly can be.
My goal was definitely a PR. So my goal time was probably like anything under 19:30. That didn't happen this year, mostly because of the wind, and my mindset wasn't very good going into the race. But I hope that's something that I can improve off of for next year.
15:25 5K with the winds, that wasn't possible. My thoughts after the race, it felt kind of surreal that the season was over. That was where my head was normally at. Just thinking about how this was my last cross-country race as a high schooler was definitely something that was on my mind. The finish I was happy with, top 3 finish. I wish I could have done better, but overall I'm happy with how I did at 3rd.
Next season will be very different with some crucial seniors graduating. The plans for next season are unpredictable. This is what our athletes will do to prepare.
Off season, it'll probably be like more of the summer mileage, and I'm also going to be doing a track club during the winter this year. And it's just basically all about the preparation beforehand.
My plans for cross country, obviously want to run in college. I have a couple school offers there, so that's just where I want to take it.
From Game Day Northwest, this has been Cole Bartley.
Last Friday, the Olathe North Ravens took on the Olathe North Eagles in the second round of the playoffs. This was the second time North and Northwest have faced each other this season. The Eagles started out the game strong, scoring 2 touchdowns, putting them ahead 14-0. Northwest came back after North scored their second touchdown, with ONW putting up their first points of the game on a field goal by C.J. Elricks, pulling ONW within 14-3. But North would take a 21-3 lead into half. The Ravens wouldn't quit, though, fighting until the end, scoring 2 touchdowns in the final 8 minutes, one on a rushing touchdown by Brett Deckett, and the final touchdown of the night came from Ethan Kim, scoring the final score of 38-17. ONW finishes the season 3-4 and lots of momentum heading into next year. Great job this season, boys.
This past Saturday, Hallie Robertson went to Newton to compete at state. She placed 6th on beam with a score of 9. Congratulations to Hallie and the rest of the team on a great season.
Speaking of Hallie, she is one of this week's senior spotlights, along with Ava Clayton. Hallie Robinson has been on the high school gymnastics team for 4 years. Her favorite memory is winning state her freshman year. She plans on going to Johnson County Community College, then Emporia University.
Ava has been on the Raven tennis team for 3 years. Her favorite memory from this year is beating Olathe West in doubles with Maddy Andreessen. Next year, Ava plans to attend the University of Arkansas and major in biology and chemistry on a pre-dental track.
That's all we have for Game Day today, Ravens. We'll see you next week, and now back to Blake and Ava.
The Ravens had a busy and very successful week. Congratulations to the 31 Raven band members who were selected for the KMEA All-District Ensembles. These students had the most members selected in ONW history.
Another shout out to our orchestra members who made KMEA District Honor Orchestra. These 15 students auditioned virtually last Saturday. Congrats.
Not only has band and orchestra been hard at work, our choir students have also been preparing for their KMEA auditions. Congratulations to the 25 singers who were selected.
And finally, our Raven debate team has had a successful last 2 weeks, with the team earning 2nd and 3rd place overall at 2 different tournaments. They also earned many honorable mentions, as well as some top 10 finishers. Congrats to Kate Trebra and Kaylin Wellman for their 7th place finish, as well as Ava Powell and Nanako Heller for their 5th place finish.
Way to make ONW proud with all your great accomplishments, guys.
We have an exciting show a new show coming soon. Let's take it to Christian Kotwitz for a sneak peek of Late Night Northwest.
I'm never going to get called out on not being tough enough to do that.
I think I'm the one that needs the trash can. That's tough to watch.
What's up, Ravens? My name is Christian Kotwitz, and I am the producer of a new show coming to ONW called The Late Night Northwest Show. Make sure to stick around after ONW Now next week to see Mr. Zook eat baby food, and we're featuring a special performance by Olathe Northwest's very own Max Weaver. This show will showcase all of our students here at ONW with a little late night show spin. For the Late Night Show, this has been Christian Kotwitz. Now back to the desk.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of ONW Now.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter and check out our YouTube channel at ONW Raven Daily. Also check out our website, theravendaily.com, for more news and updates.
And don't forget to check out the first new episode of the ONW podcast on the Raven Daily YouTube channel, featuring Drew Higgins, Jenna Klein, Cody Baldoff, and Ashlyn Cooper.
For Blake Gamber, this has been Ava Clayton. Have a fantastic rest of your week, Ravens.